My name is Maria Torres, and I'll be explaining about genetically modified organisms and the world's view. What is a GMO? It is an organism whose DNA has been modified in the laboratory in order to favor the expression of desired physiological traits or the production of desired biological products. GM foods were first approved for human consumption in the United States in 1994. By the end of 2014, GM crops covered nearly 1.8 million square kilometers of land in more than 24 countries worldwide. GMOs are also widely used in scientific research and pharmaceuticals. The process of genetic engineering is widely used in biological research, and it has basic steps. Step 1. Identify a trait of interest. In order to identify a desirable new trait, scientists look into nature. Step 2. Isolate the genetic trait of interest. Here, a competitive analysis is used to decode what part of an organism's genetic makeup contains the trait of interest. Step 3. Insert the desired genetic trait into a new genome. Altering the genome of a plant seed is difficult due to their rigid structure. Many biotech companies use gene guns that shoot metal particles coated with DNA into plant tissues. Step 4. Growing the GMO. After a genetic trait has been successfully inserted into an organism's genome, the modified organism must then be able to grow and replicate with its newly engineered genome. But to all this, what do critics have to say? They say that genetic engineering disrupts the precise sequence of a food's genetic code and disturbs the functions of their other genes. They claim more research is needed. They also claim that, which are often designed for herbicide intolerance, they have led to higher levels of herbicides. There has been a movement to require food companies to label their products that contain GMOs. Some producers do label putting a non-GMO Project Verifiable seed on some foods. However, companies have fought labelings, citing they are too costly and too difficult for them. Countries such as Canada, where it is now required for all foods where safety concerns such as allergenicity and compositional or nutritional changes are identified. Countries also like Australia and New Zealand took effect in December of 2001, and in Japan it took effect on April 1st of 2001, dictated by the MAF, established a labeling scheme which requires labeling for biotech food products. Public opinion has been strong about genetically modified foods, and despite the growing use of genetically modified crops over the past 20 years, most Americans say they only know little about GM foods, and many people appear to hold soft views about GM foods, saying they're not sure whether such foods are better or worse for one's health. About 48% of Americans say that health effects of GM foods are no different than other foods. 39% say GM foods are worse for one's health, and 10% say such foods are better for one's health. Overall, 11% of Americans estimate that most of the foods they are eating has GM ingredients. Another 40% say some of the foods they eat have GM ingredients, and about 48% say they do not eat GM foods or do not know too much about them. But why GMOs are so controversial? Genetic engineering differs from conventional plants and animal breeding because it allows genes to be moved across taxonomic boundaries. With genetic engineering, genes can be transferred not only between closely related organisms. The production also imposes a high risk to the disruption of ecosystems and biodiversity. Several European countries moved to rule out GMOs. 19 out of 27 member state countries of the European Union have voted either partially or fully ban genetically modified organisms. The movement has led to a moratorium in Europe and to hostility towards imported genetically modified products, as well as to acts open of opposition. The European Food Safety Authority has been studying the effects of these products and has uncovered a host of potential problems with their usage, especially in the developing bodies of children. GMOs cause controversy for a number of reasons and remains a divisive issue worldwide. We all know that genetically modified organisms help us to improve our country and make our economy good, but we don't know exactly the risks and disadvantages of GMOs. Although we can say that it is helpful to us, but it can also be harmful.